Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I covered this issue a while ago, but not coming from Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, but covered from other sources. I think it was about 5 months ago, after the counteroffensive, and I think it was one before that. And the issue was some Western leaders and former, how should I put them, officials, high-ranking officials, were in contact, and still are in contact with the Russians and the Ukrainians in order to facilitate some negotiations, some talks. Here, Lavrov comes out and says, well, the West secretly comes over and tells us to talk with the Ukrainians and, try to negotiate a peace. So this coming from Lavrov, I think, so far, personally, I give Sergei Lavrov a lot of credibility because I've never, as of now, caught him lying. Maybe he did, but I didn't. I didn't catch him lying. I caught others lying, and I have never seen him as a weasel because I listened to him many times in interviews, in some media outings, some just answering questions in front of the media. Just I heard him, so I kind of know how he thinks, and he's not an idiot whatsoever, and he's not a weasel. I think Lavrov, as many others like Peter Giarto of Hungary, or Dr. Jaishankar of India, or Wang Yi of China. I know all these guys are bad dudes, but somehow the bad dudes have this kind of guys, and the good dudes have people like Liz Truss, Great Britain, or now David Cameron, or Annalena Baerbock of Germany, or La Cornu, I think she's of France, or Blinken. So it seems like the guys in our team are infantile and something else, and on the other side they're all bad. All of them are bad, but somehow I would like them to be in my team here. I think that I would benefit as a country if I would have this kind of brains and individuals in our team. It's like I give you this example many times. When I used to play soccer as a, I'm giving you an example as a child, as a teenager and so on. I didn't want people in my team, or weak. You want the best ones, right? But when you play against someone, you're gonna figure out immediately, if you don't know them from the neighborhood, who's who, what's what, and you think, what the fuck is this guy doing in my team here, right here? I would rather have that guy in my team. And he's the guy that you play against. Why? Because you know who's who and what's what. So I would give Blinken, Liz Truss, Baerbock, La Cornu, and Cameron in a second for Lavrov, Dr. Jaishankar, Giarto of Hungary, and Wang Yi of China. Just like this. But unfortunately we can't do that because they're bad. Alright, let's go and see this article coming from Russia Today. 16th of December 2023. West secretly urging Russia-Ukraine talks, Lavrov said. Now, obviously, you can say he's lying, but, let's see what kind of points and what kind of evidence he presents. We still work based on evidence, don't we? Some of us. So, let's see. The top diplomat says Moscow has, and I'm quoting, never rejected peace negotiations out of hand. Yeah, but they said these four things that we, how they call them, unprovoked war against Ukraine, we started it, but we have about 4 reasons why, at least, but it's unprovoked. All those things, he said it, we're gonna have those realities in the field from now, and those 4 we're gonna accomplish. And then we're gonna discuss. It's a how should I put it, it's a given that we start from that point. Obviously, the other ones will not start with that point. That's why we have the war, basically. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has said that multiple Western leaders had approached him about potential negotiations to end the conflict in Ukraine, saying the Kremlin is ready for dialogue so long as it respects Moscow's core interests. That was the whole point. Hey, unprovoked, remember? So said multiple Western leaders. All right, speaking alongside his Belarusian counterpart, Lavrov told reporters that some Western powers were increasingly interested in a negotiated settlement, though declined to single out any country by name. You can say, well, he's a wizard. He's a diplomat. That's the word you want to use for him. He said many times, Russia doesn't conduct media diplomacy or Hollywood diplomacy. Russia still sticks to diplomacy. The United States forgot about diplomacy. The United States' diplomacy in the past 32 years is what? The toolbox of diplomacy is threats, blackmail, regime change, and invasion or bombardments. These are America's for the past 30 years, and the world saw that. 30 years is considered a generation. For generations, the generation saw what these guys, how these guys are acting. So why would they be with that one, with them voluntarily, unless they want to profit of something? What? Not being smacked? That's a way of to profit. And I'm going to quote Lavrov: "I do not want to end. I have no right to name. No, I do not want to, and I have no right to name names. But a number of high-level, well-known leaders of Western countries, including one specific Western leader, a very well-known one, several times, at least via 3 different channels of communication, sent signals as to why don't we meet and talk about what to do with Ukraine and with European security." End quote, he said. And why did you avoid meeting that leader then? Maybe he did. Diplomacy. Lavrov added that Russia is, and I'm quoting, always ready to discuss these issues seriously, but suggested that Kiev has been the unwilling party, saying, and I'm quoting, "We have never rejected the negotiations, and this question should not be addressed to us." However, the foreign minister stressed that any talks would have to account for, and I'm quoting, Russia's legitimate interests, and must mean, and I'm quoting, putting an end to attempts to build one's own security at the expense of others. This was the reason why, one of the reasons why the Russians attacked unprovoked Ukraine. Because he said, you put these guys' security first, Ukraine, by arming them, getting them into NATO, bringing your rockets and missiles by our border, that is shortening our reaction time to your attack, but you ignore our security interests. So that's a principle. I think it was 1970 something, 74. I think it was issued. You know, you can't just arm yourself but ignore the other ones, because they're going to do the same thing. I covered that in an article, in a video, I don't know, a year and a half ago or something. Now, it says here, Russia's legitimate interest and must mean putting an end to attempts to build one's own security at the expense of others, referring to Ukraine's efforts to join the NATO bloc. The Russian and Ukrainian negotiators, we don't care about that, during a meeting at the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, OSCE, earlier this month, OSCE, Lavrov recalled that the 2 sides had essentially reached a peace agreement following talks in Istanbul in March 2022, noting that senior Ukrainian MP David Arkamia, who led his country's delegation, had recently confirmed that. So Western leaders have so far said a little about new peace talks in their public comments, though. Recent media reports have indicated that US and European officials have quietly broached the issue behind the scenes. According to US officials cited by NBC, Washington is now, and I'm quoting, worried that Ukraine is running out of forces, end quote, and cannot succeed on the battlefield, reportedly prompting new interest in negotiations. I just uploaded a video an hour ago where the former Ukrainian ambassador to London stated that the UK and other Western countries could send their military in Ukraine to fight the Russians if the situation over there gets desperate. Now, desperate is based on your assessment of desperation. That means losing. So I don't think these guys are thinking of stopping the war anytime soon. And I also made a video today after that article with Boris Pistorius, who is the defense minister of Germany, who basically said we're going to have to arm against Russia, and it's the boogeyman here created by Russia, and we have to defend ourselves, triggering, or not triggering, confirming, for me at least, the perpetual war that we are in. So I don't think with that, with those two little videos and arguments coming from the former ambassador and Pistorius, the defense minister of Germany, if we went together to what happens in Ukraine, how much money, how many weapons, how much support Ukraine was received, NATO was putting in to destroy Russia, it's clear they will not just go back and say, Russia, you won, we lost. That's not going to happen. Even if Russia takes over the entire territory of Ukraine, if, let's say, they won that, which they never said they will, and it's idiotic to do so, because it's like lumping in tens of millions of people in your country that hate your guts. What do you think will happen? You're going to have Belfast every day, right? Or Gaza, or that area every day. You don't want to have that. And it's tens of millions. It's not, I don't know, 2.5 million or 200,000 people. Nothing like that. So if the Russians will get, let's say, the whole Ukraine, still NATO will say they won. They can't say they lost. And they will spin it in such a way that they will say, well, actually, and they will change they would either move the goalpost somewhere else further, say, well, that's what we aimed, actually. So they didn't reach that one. Yeah, but they reached the one that you claimed, I don't know, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago. Doesn't matter. These guys have these baboons have an attention span of about 3 minutes. So after 3 minutes, you can tell them something totally opposite, they will buy it. They don't care. They don't care. As Albert Einstein, I think he said at one point, the humanity, 99.9% of human beings, all they need is their backbone. Their brain is useless. Why? Give me something to drink, something to eat, somewhere to sleep, someone to and that's it. That's all I need. Warmth and protection. And I can be like a plant in the sun. And that's true. You don't believe me? Well, that means you have to get out and meet people. People. You don't have to meet certain people. People in general. And after about 5 minutes, you figure out how much that person thinks, how he thinks, how much he knows, how much he feels, if you ask the right questions. You don't have to be direct. Ask a few questions. You want to see if he's honest, not morally, intellectually honest? Ask him about, let's say, the conflict in Israel or Hamas. And you're going to figure out right there if you should continue talking with that person and honestly, or continue going deeper. You find out at that point. Or let's say, ask about Biden. Ask him, do you think that Biden is all there? Do you think Biden is fit to be the president? And you immediately realized if the guy is going to be someone you want to talk to, or you're going to talk about the weather, football, garbage like this, women, teats, and so on. So my friends, here it is. Lavrov disclosed again, the information that we knew about. He confirmed it in front of us. Who do you think those guys were that contacted him? Probably one of them was Orban, but I don't think he mentioned when he said they're a great leader of whatever country power. I don't think he referred to Orban because Orban was too easy. Probably some others, obviously. And I will take Germany, France, maybe France, Great Britain. I don't think United States of America, because United States of America is the one who decides. If USA says stop, Zelensky is plugged off, and his clown show, that circus, moves somewhere else, which is going to be by China in, Taipei. It's going to move to Taipei, the circus, from Kiev to Taipei, right? Right. Thank you very much. Or maybe it's going to move to Iran. Maybe they wanna, but they're too afraid. Because if you notice, these guys, the promoters of freedom and democracy, they don't take on strong countries. They take on Libya, 4 million people, Afghanistan, Iraq, things like this, 10 million people, 20 million people. That's about it. Now they made a mistake because they pushed these guys that they thought they're going to destroy Russia economically with the sanctions, and they were not able. They knew militarily it's going to be tough, but they thought they're going to destroy them economically. They failed. So now what? Plan D. Their plan A, B, C is already gone. They got to plan D. And the Russians, the plan A is gone. I think they're at plan C or something like that, because they have to adjust to the realities. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.